Yes.
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 21, Text 33. And it says, Maitreya Uvacha Evam Tam Anupasyata Bhagavan Pratyag Akshaja Jagama Bindu Sarasaha Tara Swatya Parisrityat. Parisrityat. Okay. And this verse says, Maitreya went on. Thus, having spoken to Kardama Muni, the Lord, who reveals himself only when the senses are in Krishna consciousness, departed from that lake called Bindu Sarovara, which was enriched by the river Saraswati. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. One word in this verse is very significant. The Lord is stated here to be Pratyag Aksaja. He is imperceptible to material senses, but still can be seen. This appears to be contradictory. We have material senses, but how can we see the Supreme Lord? He is called Adhoksaja, which means that he cannot be seen by the material senses. Aksaja means knowledge perceived by material senses. Because the Lord is not an object that can be understood by speculation with our material senses, he is also called Ajita. He will conquer, but no one can conquer him. What does it mean then that still he can be seen? It is explained that no one can hear the transcendental name of Krishna. No one can understand his transcendental form. And no one can assimilate his transcendental pastimes. It is not possible. Then how is it possible that he can be seen and understood? When one is trained in devotional service and renders service unto him, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. When one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag akshaja, which is used here. Okay, so this aksaja, it means knowledge perceived by material senses. And ahoksaja means that he cannot be seen by material senses. Okay, so therefore, Lord is referred to here as Pratyag Aksaja. He is imperceptible to material senses, but still he can be seen. Now, that of course is contradictory. And as Prabhupada says, we have material senses, but how can we see the Supreme Lord? The question. He is called Ahoksaja, which means that he cannot be seen by the material sense. Aksaja means knowledge perceived by material sense. Because the Lord is not an object that can be understood by speculation with our material senses, he is also called Ajita. He will conquer, but no one can conquer him. What does it mean then that still he can be seen. It is explained that no one can hear the transcendental name of Krishna. No one can understand his transcendental form, and no one can assimilate his transcendental pastimes. It is not possible. Then how is it possible that he can be seen and understood? When one is trained in Krishna in devotional service and renders service unto him, meaning Krishna, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. When one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, and one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag aksaja, which is used here. Okay. As it says, aksaja means perceived by material senses. And pratyag aksaja means he's imperceptible to material senses, but still he can be seen. So the Lord can be seen only if someone has pure service to the Lord. And the Lord cannot be understood simply by speculation with our material senses. Therefore, it says here he's called Ajita. In other words, he can conquer, but no one can conquer him. He's unconquerable, Ajita. Still, he can be seen. So no one can hear the transcendental name of Krishna. No one can understand his transcendental form, and no one can assimilate his transcendental pastimes. It is not possible. Then how is it possible that he can be seen and understood? When one is trained in devotional service and renders service unto him, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. When one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag aksaja, which is used here. Okay. So, thus having spoken to Kardama Muni, the Lord, who reveals himself only when the senses are in Krishna consciousness, departed from the lake called the Bindusaravara, which was encircled by the river Saraswati. So over and over again, we're seeing this transcendental vision, and there's material vision. So transcendental vision happens when a person is purified of material desires by steadily engaging in spirit in Krishna conscious activities. And the purification is not by soap and water. The purification is by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So, and we can't understand the Lord by speculation. We can only understand the Lord by the statements of bona fides acharyas and by what you would call intense activities of spiritual life, offering homage to the Lord always, and in this way, never deviating from the path of devotional service. That's why Prabhupada says, when one is trained in devotional service and renders service unto the Lord, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. When one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag akshaja, which is used here. Okay, so this is wonderful, wonderful information. And the word ahoksaja is very good. The meaning has a very good meaning. That Krishna cannot be seen by material senses. So, therefore, we all have material senses, but those senses can be purified by regular chanting and engagement in devotional service. And then our senses, once purified, we can begin to hear, by hearing the transcendental name of the Lord, and then we can understand the transcendental form of the Lord, and then we can gradually understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. We can't understand everything, but we can understand something. So this is the process of purification through Krishna conscious activity or devotional service. And Prabhupada says, when one is trained in devotional service and renders service unto him, meaning Krishna, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. When one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, and one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag aksaja, which is used here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Haribol. Okay. Now we're going to text 34, unless there's some questions about this verse. 33.
Just small
Yes.
question. So it says in the last 3, 4 lines, uh, then one can see, one can understand, and one can hear. So although the purification process also involves hearing, and so it's just like a hearing is getting better and better. To get purified, also we need hearing. And it says after, it says then one can see. It says one senses are thus purified. Then one can see, one can understand, and one can hear.
Well, there's another way of saying this, that then one has a desire to see, to hear. See, when our senses are not purified, we're not interested in seeing and hearing about Krishna. We're interested in seeing and hearing all kinds of nonsense things. But when we become purified through hearing and chanting and through engaging in devotional service, associating with devotees, then we have the desire and to see and to hear and to engage in devotional service. So it's a gradual process through what you would call action in Krishna consciousness. When it says when one person's senses are purified. Well, how do you purify the senses? It's not by using soap and water. It's by engaging in devotional service. It's by hearing and chanting, hearing about Krishna and chanting the glories of Krishna. Then our senses become purified, and then we can see. Therefore, what do we do every day? We do uh, hearing and chanting about Krishna. What do the karmis do? They do hearing and they do talking, but about nonsense things. So, so their hearing and chanting is not the same as our hearing. Yeah. But they have the possibility to hear and chant about Krishna. Rather than hear and chant about Krishna, immediately they turn on the news, they hear and talk about all kinds of politics uh, and stock exchange, uh, investments, and all kinds, all these different subjects that have nothing to do with Krishna. So their hearing and chanting is contaminated and misleading. And our hearing and chanting is purifying because we're hearing about the Lord's pastimes and we're chanting the glories of the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna. So karmis are also hearing and chanting, but not about Krishna. They have their own, let's say, their own heroes in life, like Warren Buffett and like Mr. So many different, politicians and rich people and so forth. So that hearing and chanting is contaminating. But when you hear and chant about Krishna, then you become purified. But you have to have the desire to do that. Just like someone may have a desire to eat meat, right? So they follow their desire, right? They'll buy the meat, they'll cook the meat, they'll eat the meat, right? We have, as devotees, we have desire to have prasadam, and we have desire to hear about Krishna, and we have a desire to go on Sankirtan. We have a desire to, read Bhagavad Gita. So it all depends on what our desires are. And how can we desire uh, to be Krishna conscious is by associating with devotees who are Krishna conscious, right? So how do the materialists become, let's say, overwhelmed by Maya? Well, they're associating with bad people. They're associating with Mayic people. So association is the most important thing. Association with genuine devotees, well, that means you're going to hear and share about Krishna. Associate with non-people, nonsense people, that means you're going to always hear and talk about nonsense people. About the Olympics, about the, who, politics, about all these subjects that are nonsense. And most of the subjects that kids learn, like, for example, kids have history classes. What are the history classes about? It's all about nonsense people and wars and this thing and that thing. And it's very funny that in India, I don't know if it's still like this, but most of the education and history was about Muslims, right? Babur, this one, that one. Huh?
The Mughals.
Yeah, the Mughals. Oh, about the Mughals. Why should Hindi Hindi kids learn about the Mughals. Their whole history is nonsense, you know. So this is going on in the material world. But when we become devotees, we're not interested in the history of the Mughals, right? We're interested in Krishna consciousness, you know, uh, Nanda Maharaj, Yasodamai, things like that. We're not interested in Babur and all those nonsense people. Yes.
So, few of my friends, they always get in a group in the beginning of the school before school starts, in a way there, and then the first thing they start talking about is cars. Like
What?
Cars.
Cars.
This car company is doing bad. Like Audi is doing bad. Um,
Tesla is doing good. Really, they're talking about cars, huh? Okay. Well, depends where you are and who your friends are. So they're really excited about cars. Okay. So which type of car are they most excited about?
they're excited about BMW.
Ah, the BMW, German car. Yeah, BMW car is really nice. Anyway, what's the meaning of a car? The meaning of a car is it can take you from point A to point B. You see, so whether it's a BMW or it's some Ford, right? It's still going to take you from this point to that point. So, or you can go from this point to that point in a bicycle also. You see, so or you can take transportation. You know, you take uh, uh, buses and things like that. So going from this point to that point, there's many different ways to do it. You can also walk from this point to that point. So obviously, there's some interest in cars and especially new model cars, uh, but it's always about going from this point to that point. Now, previously, they had horse and buggies. You go from this point to that point. And then you have walking. You're going from this point to that point. And by the way, the more you walk, the more healthy you are. The less you walk, the less healthy you are. So every day we should walk. You know, like Prabhupada every morning, right? He had his morning walk. It's very important for health. Yes.
There. So walking and running same benefit, right?
Walking and
Running.
same benefit?
Yeah, do they have the same benefit?
Uh, there's a certain type of walking that's better than running. But you need these two things, these two types of canes. And because that way you're moving your arms also. I don't know what they call that. Why don't you look that up? When walking with two canes.
My neighbor,
Yeah.
they're like old couple, maybe in their 90s or something.
Yeah.
Every single day they walk with a cane.
The two canes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they walk like
Yeah.
every single
That's why they're 90 years old.
I don't know exactly, but they're very good.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah, the walking with two canes is very healthy.
those both the couple every day.
Stepped on glass and it pierced the like inside. So now she has to walk with those things that the doctors give. And then whenever she's walking, she has to move her arms because for support.
So what's that thing called? It's
They're also called canes, Maharaj.
what?
They're also called canes.
Uh-huh. Okay. So what are you looking up?
Walking with two canes.
Yeah.
They're known as bilateral canes.
Bilateral canes. Okay.
Typically, recommended for individual
We need increase.
increased needs of work.
It's increased what?
Ability and support.
Okay.
This can be beneficial for those with balance issues, weakness, or both sides of the body, or certain medical conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why you see them walking with two canes, right? And it's very good for your health to do that. Okay, so in other words, text 33, our takeaway is when one is trained in devotional service and renders service unto him, meaning Krishna, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. Well, this is what we're seeking in Krishna consciousness, purification of the senses. And when the senses are purified, then we can see and understand and we can hear about Krishna. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag akshaja, which is used here. So, when we purify the material senses and perception, and when we purify the material senses, then we're able to have transcendental vision. That's why. Now, how do you purify the material senses? You engage them in devotional service. You see, so it's not what you would call only just a physical thing. You know, like let's say you want to purify. You want to purify it. Well, every day you take a bath, right? That's a type of purification, right? And that is, it's not a permanent thing. You know, you have to keep bathing. There are people, and we've looked this up before. There are people that haven't bathed for 20 years. They're still alive, they're still living, but they're not really. I mean, it's not a person you like to associate with. You know, hasn't bathed for 20 years. So here it's saying that when the senses are purified, then one can have perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna. Okay, so the senses are purified by chanting Hare Krishna, by being regulated in devotional service, by associating with devotees, and by engaging, basically in Krishna conscious activities. So it's purified by the activity and the association. But of the two, the most important is association, because if you associate with pure devotees, you will become quickly purified of what? Lust, anger, and greed. These are the things that are contaminating people. And you see that, you see like politics. What is politics all about? It's about friends and enemies. What is Krishna consciousness all about? It's about worshiping Krishna. And okay, so when you're on a lower level of Krishna consciousness, you see friends and enemies, or in other words, you see there's Krishna, there are innocent people, and there are devotees. So you worship Krishna with innocent people. You try and help them become Krishna consciousness, and devotees you associate with, and non-devotees you avoid. All right. But in Mahabhagavat, devotee, he doesn't see in the same way. In Bhagavat devotee sees everybody as a devotee. Now, we shouldn't artificially try and emulate that. But it is a fact that the Mahabhagavat sees everybody as a devotee, even the bad people, right? So in one sense, when Prabhupada first came to the United States, he did not see people in the same way as mundane people do. He saw all these hippies and all different types of people as all being potentially capable of becoming Krishna conscious. Right? Now, not everybody can become Krishna conscious, but most people can if they have the right association. So, what did Prabhupada do? He created a possibility for people to associate with him by opening a small temple and having lecture and kirtan and eventually sankirtan. Okay, so when Prabhupada says in his purport, one word in this verse is very significant. The Lord is said here to be pratyag akshaja. He is imperceptible to material senses, but still he can be seen. This appears to be contradictory. We have material senses, but how can we see the Supreme Lord? He is called ahoksaja, which means that he cannot be seen by the material sense. Aksaja means knowledge perceived by material sense. Because the Lord is not an object that can be understood by speculation with our material senses, he is also called ajita. He will conquer, but no one can conquer him. What does it mean? Then that still he can be seen. It is explained that no one can hear the transcendental name of Krishna. No one can understand his transcendental form. And no one can assimilate his transcendental pastimes. It is not possible. Then how is it possible that he can be seen and understood? When one is trained in devotional service and renders service unto him, gradually one's senses are purified of material contamination. When one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, and one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag aksaja, which is used here. So the Jewish people, the rabbis, they're priests. They also say that you cannot pronounce the name of God. Look that up. Look that up. In Judaism, they say that you cannot pronounce the name of God. It's very interesting that they say that. Let's just see if that's true. In Judaism, they say that you cannot pronounce the name of God.
In modern rabbinical Jewish culture, it's considered
Rabbinational.
rabbinational Jewish culture. It's considered forbidden to pronounce the most common name of God in the Hebrew Bible, the Tetragrammaton, which is usually written as Yahweh.
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 As Yahweh in English. Instead, in prayers, the word Adonai,
Adonai.
which translates to my Lord, is used. And in discussion, Hashem, the name, is used. The Israelites were concerned about misusing God's name, so they avoided saying it altogether. As a result, today it is not clear how to pronounce Yahweh.
You see, they don't know how to say the name of God. They have approximations of how to say it, but they don't really know the real way of saying it. It's just like even in Hinduism, the people are not exactly sure how you say, what's the word? Oh my God, I forgot. There's a word in Hindi, in Indian language. People try to say it in different ways. What is that word? Okay, I'll think about it in a minute. I'll think about it in a minute. Om, yeah. People argue about how to say Om. You're right? One time it was a long time ago, and I think it was in Seattle. I met this. There was a famous Rosicrucian priest that lived near where I was living, and when I found out, why don't you look up Rosicrucians? When I found out that he was a famous guy, he was living just like 2 blocks away from where I was living. So I went to see him, and he lived in a very strange house. It looked like a house from like the 1800s, right? Like as soon as even the gate of the house looked old like that, right? And when you open the gate and you walk in through the garden looked like it was really old, right? And then when you get into the house, everything looks like it was really old. And there was another man there who got there before me. So I had to wait to see the Rosicrucian. He's like a priest. He was like one of the leaders of the whole movement. So he was a big guy, and I just happened to be living in the same neighborhood as him. And this other guy came before me, and he was trying to say trying to pronounce Om properly. So, so I had to wait before I could speak to the big guy. And for about a half an hour, this other person was trying to say Om correctly. And that's why he had come to speak to the big guy. You know, how do you say it correctly, right? So that went on for about half an hour. Is it Om or is it Om or is it oh or, you know, it was just like crazy, right? So uh, we see the problem. Do we have a problem saying Hare Krishna? I don't think so. Right? Pretty clear. But saying Om, which is a transcendental word, it's not a mundane thing. But people get stuck on, you know, what's the right way to say it, and they could spend years trying to figure it out. So we're lucky to have Srila Prabhupada, you know, to save us from all that waste of time and energy. So look, did you look up Rosicrucians?
So the Rosicrucians refer to a mystical and secretive society that originated in Europe in the early 17th century. The term derives from rose and cross, symbols associated with the group.
What? It's associated with?
The group.
The group. Yeah, okay.
The Rosicrucians are said to blend elements of alchemy, Hermeticism, and Christian mysticism, emphasizing spiritual enlightenment, the pursuit of hidden knowledge, and personal transformation. The origins of the Rosicrucians are linked to a series of manifestos published in the early 1600s, notably the Fama Fraternitatis and the Confessio
Fraternitas.
Fraternitas. These documents describe the alleged founder, Christian Rosencruz, and outline the society's aims and beliefs. In modern times, various organizations claim to continue the Rosicrucian tradition, with the ancient mystical order Rosicrucis, AMORC, being one of the most prominent. These groups often focus on metaphysical and esoteric teachings.
Esoteric
Teachings as well, improvement and spiritual development.
Do you find that this is very, when you come to the classes, that you're learning a lot of new things? Yeah. I mean, you ever talk to your friends about what you learn? No.
Hardly.
Yeah, but I mean, I bet your friends don't know anything about what we talk about.
Some of the things, Maharaj, I try to share with like other kids, maybe temple kids and not the
Yeah.
temple kids. They really get interested. Like recently, you were talking about truth and dare.
What?
Truth and dare, like they dare the kids, right? Like you dare to do this.
Oh yeah, dare that you eat a
Yeah.
slug.
I share this example with many other material kids, and they were appreciating to learn this one thing.
Mhm.
So I try to share some of the things those they can easily connect.
Yeah.
And they really appreciate other kids,
Yeah.
their parents.
Don't ever eat a slug.
This example I've shared with many kids, and they're all like,
Yeah.
so there's so much learning every day.
Yeah, don't associate with people that always, challenge you, that they dare you. I dare you to eat a slug. Okay, so yeah, the Rosicrucians, they have some what they consider secret knowledge that was from way back in biblical times, and they have kept them today. So you have to join them, and you have to go through different levels of initiation to come to the higher levels of understanding. And it's it's mixed. You have they uh, they have some things from about Om, and some things that from the Indian or from the Vedic tradition, and other things from mystical Christian tradition. It's all hodgepodge, uh, you know, things, and they sit around and talk about mystical things. Um, so one day I went to see this big Rosicrucian. I can't say he's a guru, but he was Rosicrucian man, his favorite famous Rosicrucian. And someone was there before me. So, but the guy that got there before me, he had come to ask the big guy how to say Om correctly. And for about half an hour, they're going Om, Yim, yeah, like that. And I thought it was very, funny, but but they were serious. They he wanted to know how to say it correctly. Anyway, when I was able to talk to the big guy, the big Rosicrucian, what did the discussion began where he asked me to see this kaleidoscope. You know what a kaleidoscope is? Yeah.
It shows the different colors or the images.
Yeah, it shows you a series of images that, seem to be moving, and repeating. And then it takes you into a different realm of understanding. So our discussion started like that. He asked me to look and meditate on the kaleidoscope. I guess they do that to help you to see different levels of reality. Did you look up kaleidoscope? You know what it is, a kaleidoscope?
Kaleidoscope is a geometric optical instrument that contains pieces of colored glass and other materials. When you look through one end and rotate the tube, you can constantly change. You will see a constantly changing pattern created by the reflections of the colors and shapes. This effect is due to multiple reflections inside the kaleidoscope, which create intricate and symmetrical designs. The term kaleidoscope is also used metaphorically to describe something that is constantly changing and has many different aspects.
Yeah, we should get a kaleidoscope. It's just fun.
I have one for
You do? Oh, how'd you get it?
the one birthday party. Some friend as return gift they gave kaleidoscope.
They gave you a kaleidoscope for your birthday.
No, for like going to their birthday.
To their birthday.
Like return gift.
Oh, good. Yeah. Haribo.
In childhood, we used
What's that? You used to make them?
Yeah, we could take pieces of glass.
Big pieces of what?
If you go to people who frame the glasses,
Yeah.
they'll have these broken glass pieces.
Yeah.
Most of them are times they're straight,
Mm.
so they're the thin, straight pieces. And then you take 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then put it in a triangular shape, and then
Triangular shape.
yeah, and then now you throw some broken bangle pieces, and it used to be fun project.
Yeah.
I remember Maharaj, there in my childhood there used to be some people, they have a small machine in the fair or somewhere. You can come and just pay some small money and look at their machine there. Something
And you just see things like
Yeah.
moving,
Moving.
going, looking like they go farther out.
and different colors. Just,
Yeah.
just look into their machine. Machine what is a similar thing but slightly bigger.
We should have a kaleidoscope in Ananda Mela.
Mm.
That's
But if we could do it, with putting Krishna in it, that'd be interesting.
Create a spiritual world vision.
Yeah. Why don't you look it up if we can do some a Hare Krishna kaleidoscope?
Mm. Oh, we can make it. We should be able to.
Yeah, that would be a big hit at
We can make a bigger one.
at festivals. That would be interesting. Okay, so when one's senses are thus purified, then one can see, one can understand, one can hear, and so on. The purification of the material senses and perception of the transcendental form, name, and quality of Krishna are combined together in one word, pratyag aksaja, which is used here. Okay, so just like if you want to be healthy, you have to take a bath, right? At least, actually, 2 baths a day are recommended. 3 is even better. Right? And so, to purify the mind and the senses, we need to, our bath is called Shrimad Bhagavatam, or Bhagavad Gita. We're bathing in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, bathing our mind and our senses in the transcendental literature. Okay. So that requires training. And the training is regular hearing and chanting. Then we take a transcendental bath on a regular basis. Now, as soon as we go back to the mundane world and we're looking up, what's happening in the news, what's happening on the stock market, what's happening in politics, things like that. Now we're bathing in contaminated waters, right? We're contaminating our mind and our senses. Yes, what would you like to say?
Right. I was using ChatGPT, it gave me an image of what you see when you look into a kaleidoscope. And it looks like a yellow star and purple triangles on the outside of the star and this yellowish purplish border.
Yeah, it's always moving though. It looks like it's moving. Anyway, we should get a kaleidoscope. and see if we could put Krishna in it, if it's possible, or make one like that, so that you're always seeing Krishna, going farther away and then coming back and something like that.
This picture of kaleidoscope.
Let me see. Yeah, but it's going to be moving. It's not going to be static like that.
It changes all the time.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we had a kaleidoscope like this, but Krishna in the middle. That is your homework. Make a kaleidoscope like that.
There were pieces of this rectangle glass pieces,
Oh,
so we can agree on there. We just need to put them in a triangular shape, and
okay. You have to buy that?
yeah, you'll have to buy something like that, or maybe there might be at scale also. So imagine like we could even get people to make something like that.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
This is a good project. Make a Hare Krishna kaleidoscope. Right? That would be a novelty.
Yeah.
In festivals also, it'd be a novelty. Yeah, we used to do novel things before. I don't know why I stopped. Like, for example, I had a devotee make this would be a good project. I'll do it again. He made a program, a computer program, by which you can choose. Okay, yeah. There, we could do this again also. You could you have like 8 different colors, and you choose, I think, 2 colors.
Love it. Krishna kaleidoscope.
Really? All right. Now we're talking.
I see that one actually looks like a kaleidoscope. There's another one that shows all the things that they show in the kaleidoscope, but it doesn't really look like a kaleidoscope. So there's this image. It has Krishna on it,
Oh yeah.
and it's a kaleidoscope.
Does it say it's Krishna? Oh yeah, Krishna kaleidoscope art print. Oh, so this is a print.
Yeah.
But we don't want the print. We want to buy the Krishna kaleidoscope. Yeah, we should see. These are the type of things we have to do. The novel things that normally people would never be able to figure it out on their own or see it. So let's see if we can buy a Krishna kaleidoscope. This would be good. And if we could put the Maha mantra in it also. In other words, you're seeing the kaleidoscope, but there's no voice involved. But if you can connect, if you can like combine the chanting of Hare Krishna with the Krishna kaleidoscope, now so that see now you have something that's visual and and what do they call it? It's audit,
Auditory.
auditory, yeah, auditory, and that'd be great. So now you're dealing with hearing and seeing about Krishna, or the Krishna kaleidoscope and the Maha mantra, something like that. See what we could do. We can have festivals. Now, we have festivals in the summertime, but you can also have festivals in the wintertime. fall and winter, in which you have unique things like this, like the Krishna kaleidoscope, and connect the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with it. Right? So, and then also we used to have this thing where you have 8 different colors, and someone has to choose 2 of them. Then, based on that, there's a computer program that can give you a psychological printout based on the colors that you chose. I made that once. I had it made by devotees. This is a long time ago. And it's fun because people come, they choose 2 colors, and then they put it in a computer, and then the computer prints out a explanation of your psychology, based on the colors that you chose. Okay, so look this up. Color.
Psychology.
Huh?
Or psychology.
Okay, look up color psychology. There are books on this. Say there are books on it. Color psychology. Look that up. I don't know if that's the right word though. Color psychology. These are fun things,
Physicology, color physicology.
Oh yeah? What's it say?
Physical or psychology? Psychology. Psychology.
Oh, psychology. Color psychology is the study of how colors affect human behavior, emotions, and perceptions. Yeah, they talked about this when I was in second grade. They talked about this, like red and yellow make you hungry.
Interesting.
So and then when they showed me like restaurants, pictures of restaurants, they were all red and yellow.
Showed you what?
In second grade, we were talking about like economity and
A what?
economic, like the money production around the community or like around the world, and then
Money?
yeah,
Economy.
yeah,
Economy.
Yeah.
Economy.
They were talking about that, and so we were trying to build a building where you were trying to build like a restaurant or something, so people could come to our restaurant and things like that. Like it's a fake restaurant, and that made out of paper. And my teacher said that red and yellow make you hungry. So all of us in the class, we all chose red and yellow for our buildings because it's a fact that red and yellow do make you hungry.
Well, did you feel more hungry by seeing something?
Even red. I messaged ChatGPT and it said it's giving me a whole list of what the colors do to you. For example, red, often associated with energy, passion, and action and excitement. It all can also indicate danger or warning. Blue, typically linked to calmness, trust, and stability, is often used to corporate settings. Green symbolizes nature, growth, tranquility. It can also represent health and wellness.
Well, you see, one time I made this thing, the psychological test. We had all those colors, red, green, blue, and so on. And they were one one card which just had one color on it, right? And there were 8 cards, and then we would ask someone to come and choose 2 cards. And then based on the cards that they chose, we could give them a psychological profile of who they are or what they are. Now, people really liked it. Now we went even further. We made a computer program that people had to choose something, and then the computer would give a whole psychological profile of the person by the choices that they made. And he really liked it. This was a long time ago in festivals that we had. We would have like 4 or 5 people who at a time were choosing colors and then getting a printout of their psychological state of mind, let's say. Yeah, and Radhika Gopinath was the one that was doing it. And then, and once they get their sheet of paper, their psychological, let's say, printout, then you can sit down and discuss it with them. And this is very popular. And we were doing this in the festivals. So we should try and do that again because it's a lot of fun. And that's something you can do anytime. It's not only in an outdoor festival, you can have an indoor festival with, kaleidoscopes and psychological games and things like that, but we put Krishna into everything. That would be a good project and for a winter festival.
We have Diwali in the fall.
Yeah,
You can try. It's indoor and you can try.
absolutely. Let's look into this. So first of all, it's the kaleidoscope. You want to make a Krishna kaleidoscope. All right. So who can do that? That's a project. Krishna kaleidoscope.
Abhi,
You want to make a Krishna kaleidoscope.
The other temple to help me.
Okay. And the other thing is to make a psychological
Psychology chart.
huh?
I love psychology.
Yeah, let's take a look. Look at that color.
personality test.
Yeah, personality. That's what it is.
That's what I remember from Radhika Gopinath. He was doing on computer the personality test.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the color, but he had a bunch of questions. And after answering those choice, multiple options question, like just select the option. And then it will print your personality.
Exactly.
And then discussion can happen.
Exactly. We want to do that. We want to bring this back again.
I remember Maharaj in 2007 when I had visited like very first time or second time the temple in the Redwood because the construction was going on.
Yeah.
In 2007 October or November.
Yeah.
And Radhika Gopinath Prabhu was there and a bunch of computers.
Yes.
And he asked me for personality test. And I said, no, sorry. Because I was
You were afraid. You were afraid.
My concern was of faith. I didn't have any faith in people because most of people I've seen in Delhi, in India, like they're corrupt. So when I walked in, I said, maybe something similar. I just ignored.
Okay.
But gradually I learned they are the right people to discuss.
Yeah, I want to bring that back. We should organize a winter festival in which we can have a psychology test. We can have Krishna kaleidoscope. We can have a whole bunch of things like that. They're educational and fun at the same time. All right, that should be our project. That should be our project.
I can ask Radhika Gopinath if he has some.
Yeah, let's ask him.
Because can start from there.
Yeah. In fact, let me call my words. Call Radhika.
Calling Radhika Gopinath.
Shall I wrap the call, Maharaj?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.